What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 81 of the Charge to the Top here with Hereford FC, and today we are going to be taking on Crystal Palace here in the Premier League. Since the last episode, which was a little while ago now, about a month, we've had a little bit happen. Obviously, January transfer window's come and gone, and well, the takeover didn't happen in the end, which I was a little bit annoyed about because I kind of wanted it to happen, the kind of board switch. There was a lot of money being promised, but alas, that didn't come to be, and well, as a result, I didn't have that much to spend, but I feel like we had a fairly good transfer window. I didn't go too crazy, just two additions really. The first one, Will Mannion, joined us as a goalkeeper, a very, very good goalkeeper indeed. I wouldn't say he's the most gifted player in Football Manager by any means, but what I really like about this guy is that for a goalkeeper, he has just the right stat distribution. You'll get some players who have a really high ability, but their kind of attributes just aren't where you want them to be for the role they're going to play in. Whereas for Will here, as a goalkeeper, I mean, he's got it all really. You know, you kind of look at his core kind of attributes as a goalkeeper. They're all of 14 or above. And the only one that's really a letdown is his first touch, which, I mean, for a goalkeeper, and considering that we don't exactly pass around the back, I'm not too concerned about, if I'm honest. So I'm really happy to get this guy in. It did cost us a little bit more than it was going to previously. Of course, this was a deal I wanted to get done, and well, it got blocked by the kind of board potential switch and the transfer embargo we were under. But as you can see here, he's played 2 games for us. He kept 1 clean sheet, has conceded 2 goals, but not a bad start to his time. And of course, always good to get some more English talent into the squad. Anyway, the only other player we brought in was this guy, Choi Min Ki, a Korean player, 24 years old, actually a player who I've had my eye on for a few years. Back when we were in the Championship, I tried to sign him, but he just had no interest then. But the 24-year-old is a very, very good winger. You can see 20 caps for the South Korea national team, obviously that helped him get a work permit. Personality is fairly professional, which is obviously great. He's 24, got a lot of kind of well-rounded physicals really, fairly athletic, great first touch, good technique. And it's also worth noting, if we just have a look here at his history, he's always performed well. And obviously I'm hoping that he is going to step up to the plate for us. And well, for a deal that costs £950,000, I think that's a good little bit of business, particularly when if we look on the outs here, you can see we actually sold a fair few players and loaned out a few players as well. But the big sales, Jay Beckford has gone to Barnsley. His contract was expiring at the end of the year. It was not perhaps the offer I was hoping we'd get for him, but I decided to let him go. And well, when you compare Jay Beckford to our new kid, Choi Min Ki, the fact that we sold Jay Beckford for 3 times as much as we paid for Min Ki, I think that makes it look like an exceptional bit of business, really. The only other transfer that we did that was kind of real note was the departure of Berkovits, a player, of course, who joined us at the start of the year, the Israeli. Really didn't fit into our system because we have been playing the narrower system, and so to cash in on him for £2.4 million, I think is a good little bit of business, really, because he wasn't happy at the club. In reality, you know, upon signing him, I kind of realised he wasn't going to be up to the standards we're looking for. In terms of the left wing, obviously, I'm looking for someone of similar quality to Min Ki, but you can see just comparing the 2 players here, they're kind of just years apart, and kind of in terms of their quality, and so to get Min Ki for a cheaper fee, again, I think it makes that business look even better. That said, a few players have joined the squad, and well, you might suspect, as was the case with, of course, Hamdi, it's a few more of the youngsters who didn't have work permits previously. The first player we have here, Cameron Bowman, 18 years old, very exciting player, 5 goals in 10 appearances for Australia. If we look at our hot prospect on our kind of club screen, he is considered the hot prospect. A player who I really, really like the look of. It's a shame he's not a little bit better in the air. You know, that free jumping reach lets him down. But he's a very, very talented player, and he's also capable of playing out on the left wing. And, well, as you'll see when we get into kind of looking at the squad and stuff, we have been mixing things up, and I have been looking to play a wider system. And, well, when you compare Cameron Bowman to Berkovits, who we let go, whilst perhaps Bowman isn't quite such a good winger because of his lack of some of the core technicals, looking at the likes of dribbling and crossing, overall he is a significantly better player, and he's 18 with a lot of potential. And obviously this season, we look like we're going to stay up relatively comfortably, and so giving this guy as much first team football as possible is obviously going to be really, really beneficial. The other player we brought in, a player who I'm excited about, Tomohisa Kato, but I'm actually really pleasantly surprised that he got a work permit. He got one after 5 appearances for Japan. He's only 19 years old, very talented player. As you can see, he had a very good spell on loan at Nantes during the season already, 7.07. Since he's come to us, I've been playing him a fair bit, perhaps not giving the performance you'd be looking for. But if we look at his achievements here, I did not expect this. He came in the Asian Player of the Year, he got runner-up. And, well, he won European Golden Boy. Yes, I did not really expect this, if I'm honest. You can see 37 appearances, 6 goals, 9 assists, a 7.41 average rating. I'm a little bit confused by this because he's won European Golden Boy, but I feel like it's taken some of his performances for FC Hiroshima earlier on in the year kind of into account with that when it's come to his average rating and stuff. I mean, not that I'm going to complain. Obviously, it seems a little bit weird that for the European Golden Boy, performances that were done when he was in Japan would count towards that. But, I mean, he's been a very, very good player for us. And I think he's got a lot of potential to go far, this guy. 19 years old. Potential to fulfill, consistent performer is great, potential to be a Premier League attacking midfielder. Obviously, I'm hoping he can now achieve that, and with the added pressure of being European Golden Boy, I think there is a little bit more pressure on his shoulders. Anyway, if we look at the fixtures since the last episode, which was that disappointing defeat against Nottingham Forest, I have sat kind of tinkering away with the tactics. You can see we've struggled really. 1 win and 1 draw in our last 5 league games. It's not ideal, of course, with the goal that I set for this season of 38 points. You're really looking to average a point per game, so we have been below that. But, well, compared to some of our form previously, I mean, maybe it's a little bit of a positive that we are now actually winning a game against, well, as you can see here, Huddersfield. Anyway, let's quickly go through these games, of course. Last time out, Nottingham Forest was very, very disappointing indeed. In the first game we had against Man City, we were pretty kind of close with them, to be honest, in the first half. In the second half, Man City really had their way with us. It was a little bit of a shame. You can see Dele Alli, Gabriel Jesus, or Jesus rather, he's not Spanish, so it is Jesus, and Dybala also getting involved. So not exactly ideal there, but again, it's just a little bit of a golfing quality difference, isn't it? And that was ultimately the difference there. Anyway, the next game we had against Brighton, of course, a team who we beat 2-1 on the opening day of the season. This time we could only muster up a 1-1 draw. Ben Marshall did get the important goal for us. Perhaps a little bit fortuitous to come away with a point from this game, but we will take it nevertheless. And, well, given how poor our form's been, kind of draws are as good as victories at the moment. Anyway, the next game we had in the FA Cup, really, really disappointing this one. I was hoping we could go on a little bit of a cup run. I didn't really rotate the team all that heavily, and regardless, we ended up losing against Championship opposition Ipswich. They showed a lot of courage. We were actually 2 goals down to them after 20 minutes, and as you can see, we got 3 goals prior to half-time to go 3-2 up. However, 2 second-half goals early on for Ipswich ended up sealing the tie, and, well, that kind of further compounded our misery, but it did allow us to shift our focus, I guess, a little bit back onto the Premier League. Anyway, the next 2 games, 2 tricky matches. Of course, Liverpool, we beat 6-2 when we met them previously. This time they won 5-2, and I don't want to say it's because of Gonzalo Palacios, but I mean, this guy is one of the best players I've seen in Football Manager probably this year, if not ever. He's an absolutely insane striker. As you can see, American, 23 years old, started off at New York City FC, went to Benfica, has 57 goals in 66 games, only 23 years old, and yeah, he got a hat-trick in 5 minutes and kind of destroyed us, really, and then he got a 4th not long after as well. As you can see as well, Jamie Price sent off in this game. It was a straight red card for the striker, completely lost his head. And, well, as a result, he's actually been suspended, I think, for 3 games for that red card. So, as a result, he's not actually available for selection today, which is a little bit annoying. Anyway, the next game we had against Tottenham, it perhaps looks a little bit closer than it actually was, 2-1. You know, Tottenham were the better side. They had better quality. George Gray getting a bit of a consolation on off the bench. Cameron Bowman did get an assist. It's worth noting this guy's had 2 games for us, and he's got 2 assists, so he really hasn't done too bad, the 18-year-old. And I think we're going to give him the nod to start today against Crystal Palace. Anyway, I guess in a kind of silver lining to all of these results, perhaps the one game we really needed to win against Huddersfield, we did win. It wasn't convincing. Ben Marshall, 90th minute goal. And, well, you may be noticing, kind of looking through all these results, our strikers, they're not banging in goals like they were when we had that fantastic start to the season. I felt like it wasn't sustainable, and it turns out I was kind of right. Unfortunately, we have, you know, struggled to keep good defensive performances as well. But that win against Huddersfield did give us a little bit of breathing room. You know, we have been a little bit in free fall. Today's game is a game in hand for us against Crystal Palace, who are up in 7th. And, well, a win today, whilst it could only see us climb 1 position, it would see us just get 3 points shy of the 38 kind of points I set as a goal to start the season. So that's something that we, I guess, have to aim for today and try and achieve. But anyway, let's get into today's game. In terms of the team selection, I mentioned a bit of a tactical change. This is the tactical change that I was talking about. We're going to switch to the 4-2-3-1. I feel like it suits us quite well. You know, with Choi Min-ki coming in out on the right-hand side, we have some exceptional talent out wide. It also helps facilitate for Cameron Bowman out on the left-hand side. I talked about this guy's kind of lack of jumping reach, obviously playing out wide. That's not quite so much of a problem. And he is also left-footed, so this is a role that he's kind of fairly well suited to play. And, well, obviously with us now looking like we should really be staying up in the league this year, it does give me a chance to just experiment a little bit, to play players like Bowman, to play someone like Tomohisa Kato, who perhaps I wouldn't normally play, you know, because of his poor form, because of the fact we perhaps have better players, but because of his young age, because of the fact we haven't got quite so much to play for, you know, there is the option always to bring him into the side. Anyway, looking at the team here, Hamdi could do with a little bit of a rest. So actually, I think we will play Kato today in the kind of centre mid on support role. As you can see, Kato, not the best player defensively, but he's got really good teamwork, vision and passing. Definitely a playmaker in the making. Elsewhere, Needham, back from injury, of course, been out for a very, very long time. I can't remember if he was back last episode, actually, but he was out for 7 weeks with that double hernia. So good to have him back. Of course, Sam Booty still out injured with his long-term injury, the damaged Achilles tendon. And, well, he has very much declined as a footballer in that time, the 24-year-old, unfortunately. So anyway, hoping that we can get a second win in a row. That's kind of the aim. Mannion going to be making his live commentary debut, as is Choi out on the right-hand side. So we're hoping he can give a good performance. And also Kato and Bowman, perhaps players to keep an eye out on, of course. They're kind of new additions to the squad, although they've been in the team a while. They have the ability, really, to show us what they're made of today. Worth noting, Crystal Palace are also playing a 4-3-1-2. They play a system similar to what we kind of normally play. Last time the two sides met, we actually won 1-0. It was through an outstanding Gray goal by the Irish striker, or rather Northern Irish striker. Well, hopefully today, you know, slightly different tactic, slightly different run of form as well, I guess. You know, morale is a little bit lower. Have been doing team meetings to try and keep it up, but it has been a struggle. Hopefully, you know, today we can give a good performance, but it really has been a bit of a slog. That game against Huddersfield, you know, it gives us a little bit of kind of breathing room, I guess, on the teams behind us, really. As I said, and we'll stress again, 6 points is all we need now to stay up. That should be attainable in the games we've got remaining, but obviously the sooner we can do that, the better. And I still want to try and finish as high as we can in the league, because prize money in the Premier League is fairly significant if you can kind of keep around the mid-table area. But, well, with defending like that, we are going to struggle. Clancy and Konsa in all kinds of problems, and in the end, it's actually Katuma Asano, the Japanese striker who recently transferred to Arsenal in real life, with the goal. Ball was whipped in. I feel like either defender should have really dealt with it. They didn't, and, well, Palace strike first in this game. The first clear-cut chance of this game. And, well, it's gone their way. You can see here we are at home for this game, or as at home as we can be, of course, playing against Bournemouth. But that defending, lacklustre to say the least. It wasn't great. And that does leave us chasing this game going into, well, potentially half-time. Although there's still time. There's not time. There's not time. I was about to say there's still time for a goal. There isn't. It's been awful. I'm going to tell the players they've not been good enough today. I mean, we need just something completely different. Dean Clancy, 6.2, definitely was at fault for the goal, at least in the eyes of Football Manager. I'm going to make a change here. I'm actually going to bring in Mustafa Hamdi for Ben Marshall. He's not had the greatest day at the office, and that means that Tomohisa Kato is going to play the attacking midfielder role for us. Elsewhere, you know, we have got a few options on the bench, but I'm not going to make all our changes too soon. I want to kind of instill some faith in the players that we've got here, that they are going to be able to kind of try and make something happen for us here. So we'll see how we get on. 40 minutes left of this game. And, well, I'm just looking to see something different. I want to see some hunger. I want to see some desire. I want to see Kevin Kelly scoring a few more goals, because really, he's not been getting the goals that I thought and hoped he might get, particularly after his fantastic start to the season. You know, they have dried up a little bit, but, well, an ideal opportunity, really, against Crystal Palace to try and make something happen. Unfortunately, we've been pretty poor in this game. I'm going to make a change. Bowman's going to come off for George Gray. Kato's not had the greatest game, so we're going to bring in Sean Mulhall for him, although Mulhall is going to play that centre mid on support duty. And we're going to move, as you will see here in just a second, Hamdi, the Egyptian, into the centre attacking mid position to try and make something happen for us today. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. 10 minutes left. Time just trickling away. Set piece here. Choi Min-ki whips it in. Goes over everyone's head, but Kevin Kelly keeps it in play. Back into the mix, and Needham can't nod it down. Nathaniel Klein, he can't shoot from there, surely, the right back. It would be ambitious. He lays it to Gray. I'm sure the crowd were asking him to shoot there. Gray tries to beat his man, actually gets dispossessed by Anderson. He plays it inside, but Needham picks it up nicely. Hamdi dispossessed, and now we could be in trouble. Who is that number 5? Who is not putting in a shift there to get back? Name and shame, it's Dean Clancy. He's not the quickest player in the world, but you expect him to put in some effort to get back there. Big ball over the top, Route 1 football from Crystal Palace. You know, looking at the game as a whole, we've had less possession, we've had more shots, but we've just not created enough opportunities, and well, that goal is probably what is going to settle this game, unfortunately. And, well, after a good little result perhaps against, you know, Huddersfield, a team who we would have expected to beat as a newly promoted side, we've again, you know, we've kind of lost that momentum immediately. We're unable to string a few results together at the moment. And, well, in the end here, Crystal Palace going to run out 2-0 victors. I'm going to tell the players I'm far from pleased with what I just saw. We are still in 11th, we're still in a good position. You can see West Brom down in 18th are on 19 points, which is a very, very low total actually at this stage in the season. We ourselves are kind of looking like we're going to be battling against Middlesbrough and West Ham really to try and just get 10th maybe in the league at a push. Obviously the way our form's been going as of late, that may well be beyond us. But really the aim this year was always to stay in the division. And, well, despite this result against Crystal Palace, who, to be fair to Crystal Palace, they're playing well at the moment. They're up in 7th. It's not a result I'm going to dwell on too much. Anyway, in terms of when we'll be back, you know, we've got a fair few games going on here. I think the next game we do, it may be against Swansea, who are in 19th. We've got a pretty tricky run of games. Obviously, the way this season's going, I think it's going to be more important that we do live comms against the teams in and around us. Actually, looking at it, I think I might do the game against West Brom. The reason for that being is that we haven't got a lot to play for at the moment. West Brom down in 18th, a team who they actually drew against us previously. So it's a game I hope that we can maybe get something from. But, well, I guess you guys will have to wait and see. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up everything from me. As I said, not ideal. This run of form really has been rotten. We are slowly kind of sliding down the league. It seems like a lifetime ago that we were top of the league after 5 games. But unfortunately, that was never really going to be attainable. Just a quick look at the finances. You can see £43 million in the bank. We are looking very, very strong indeed. Unfortunately, I can't ask for more wage or transfer budget yet, but I am looking forward to hopefully a summer of actually having some money to spend. That is the dream. Anyway, all from me. Leave a like if you enjoyed. If you've got any comments, leave them down below. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. As always, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.